Company P had 15% more employees in December than in December than it had in January. Meaning from January to December there was an increase of 15%. This is how to write it, because you know if you increase, let's say 200 by 20%, if you increase 200 by 20%, you know you are going to say 200 over 100 times 200, which is 40. Then you add it. Then you say 200 plus 40, which is 240. But if you increase the number by 20%, it becomes 120, which is 1.2. If you do 200 times 1.2, press it with your calculator. Now we see that it will still give you 240. Have you pressed it?
No, sir.
In the same way, if you solve for January here, it will be 460 over 1.15, and that will give you 400. Next question. Wow, I've made a mistake. Did I click submit? Okay. Next question. The next question here is, if P is the product of the integers from 1 to 30 inclusive, what is the greatest integer k for which 3 raised to the power k is a factor of P? Now, the simplest way to solve this, is to write 30. Okay, this is 30. 3 raised to the power 1 30 divided by 3 raised to the power 1 is 10. 30 divided by 3 raised to the power 2, that is 30 divided by 9 is going to be 3 whole number, that is 27 divided by 9, 3 whole number, remainder 3. We are not doing anything with this remainder. Then 30 divided by 3 raised to the power 3. What is 3 raised to the power 3? That is 3 times 3 times 3, 27. That is going to be 1 whole number, remainder 3. 30 divided by 3 raised to the power 4. 3 raised to the power 4 is 81, so it cannot go. Now, we add all these powers. All these 10 plus 3 plus 1. It will give us 14. Look at this question. Car A is 20 miles behind car B, which is traveling in the same direction along the same route as car A. Car A is traveling at a constant speed of 58 miles per hour, and car B is traveling at a constant speed of 50 miles per hour. How many hours will it take for car A to overtake and drive 8 miles ahead of car B? First, remember that the concept of time, generally, time is what? Distance over speed. Time is distance over speed, right? Okay. But what we are talking about here is relative speed. Now, the distance needed to be covered, it is lagging 20 miles, and it wants to be ahead 8 miles. That means 20 plus 8. But the relative speed, the speed here is relative speed. The relative speed is 58 minus 50. So we have 28 over 8. Use your calculator to find 28 over 8. Is the calculator open? Is what? 3.5. Okay, next question. A project scheduled to be carried out over a single fiscal year has a budget of 12,600 divided into 12 equal months allocation. At the end of the 4th month of the fiscal year, the total amount actually spent on the project was 4,580. By how much was the project over its budget? I know there is several ways you can solve this question, but let's use proportion so that we can reuse the proportion again. If we set up this as proportion, it will be, setting up this as proportion will be 12,600 is to 12. S is to 4. Then we cross multiply 12s. Remember, we are setting it up like this for questions we are going to solve after now. 12,600. 4 times 12,600 divided by 12. 4 times 12,600 divided by 12. Oh, there is a mistake here now. This 12 is not yet there. This part is not yet there. That should be the next line. So S equals 4 times 12,600 divided by 12. Can you confirm that S is 4,200? 4 times 12, okay. So that 4,580 minus 4,200 is 380. That is the SS. Prime numbers are numbers that are divisible by 1 and themselves. But to define it more completely, prime numbers are positive integers greater than 1 that are only divisible by 1 and themselves. Okay, so depending on how you started it, either prime numbers or a prime number. Okay, but for here, look at, so we are looking for all the prime numbers between 60 and 70. The only prime number between 60 and 70 are 61 and 67. If you add these two numbers together, it will give you 128. These are the only two numbers between these 60 and 70. 60 and 70. So 161 plus 67 is 128. When 1% of 5,000 is subtracted from 1% of 500, the difference is what? So pay attention here that we are looking for 110 times 500. Sorry, times 5,000 minus 0.1 over 10% is the same thing as 0.1 times 5,000. This one will give us 500. If you work this one out, it's going to give you 0.1 times 5,000 is 500. 500 divided by 100 is 5. 500 minus 5 is 495. If you do not read it very well, you might choose 0. Next question. This one is asking for the cube root of the square root. But first, let's change this to fraction. This is 64,000 over 1 million. If you press it, you will see that it will give you back this. Then let's find the cube root of 64,000, of 64 over 1 million. The cube root. The cube root of 64 is 4. Why? 4 times 4 times 4 is 64. The cube root of 1 million is 100. Why? 100 times 100 times 100 is 1 million. Then we now move to the square root of 4 and over 100. The square root of 4 is 2. The square root of 100 is 10. Is that? Hello? Okay. 10 divided by 100 is 0.2. Okay. Let's solve this one together. When Leo imported a certain item, he paid a 7% import tax on the portion of the total value of the item in excess of 1,000. If the amount of the import tax that Leo paid was 87.5, what was the total value of the item? Now, if you read this question slowly, you will discover that the purchase was in two parts, right? The purchase, so we can divide the purchase to 1,000 no tax, and the remaining part, that remaining part, let's call it y. Is that remaining part that we are looking for? If we add it to 1,000, that is the total. But 87% of that one we are looking for is, sorry, $87.5 of that, of what we are looking for correspond to 7%. So 100% correspond to y. Let's find y. Wait, did I set up this properly? This is wrong. 87.5 is the amount. So what's the y is supposed to be here? The 100 is supposed to be here. 7y equals 87.5. Can you check? Can you confirm that it is 8750? Can you? Can you confirm 8750 divided by y? That is 1,250. Can you? Okay. Eight 750 divided by 7 is 1,250.
Okay.
You have confirmed? We didn't select. So if we add two of them together, 1,000 plus 1,250, it will give us 2,250. Now, this is another question. It says the number of cars sold at a certain dealership on 6 of the last 7 business days were 4, 7, 2, 8, 3, and 6, respectively. If the number of cars sold on the 7th business day was 2, 4, or 5, for which of the 3 values does the average equals the median? Now, let's start this way. Let's start by arranging what we have. 2, 3, 4 is there, 5 is not there, 6, 7, 8. Let's add all these numbers together. 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 6 plus 7 plus 8. Can you confirm that it's 30?
Yeah.
Now, I add 2. If you add 2, the 2 will be here. And the median will now be 2, 2, 3, 4. So the median will now be 4. The mean will be 32 divided by 8. You see that the mean and the median are not equal. So it's not. We add 4. If we add 4 here, then the median is still 4. And the number becomes 34 because we already have 30. But 34 divided by 7 number, 34 divided by 7 is not the same thing as 4. Because 28 divided by 7 is what will have given us 4. So this one is so bad. Then we add 5. If we add 5, the total now becomes what?
I'm not even understanding anything.
The thing is, just try to cope with being fast. Okay? I'm not saying that you are not fast. When you want to do GMAT or GRE exam like this, you try to enhance your speed. I actually said it, and you agree with me. You know when we said 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 6 plus 7 plus 8, I asked you to confirm whether it's 30. Do you remember? Yeah. So that is the figure we have. So add 5 to it, and that is what now? 35. That is 35. 35 divided by 7. 5. So the mean equals the median, because by the time you add 5 here, if you add 5 here, then that's the, okay, so no, the 5 will not be here. Even the 4 is, yeah, this is where the 4 is. If you add 5 here, that 5 will not be the median. And the mean is also 5. So it's only when you add 5 that the mean and the median are equal. So we say II So we say I think something is missing here. What is missing here is it these 2, 4, or 5? 2, 4, or 5 is 2 is I, 4 is I, and 5 is I. That's how it is. Okay, so the only thing you add is I. That is B. What is the 25th digit to the right of the decimal point in the decimal form 6/11? Since you are using calculator, you can press 6/11. But let's assume that we're not using calculators. 6 divided by 11, it will not go, so we add 0. It becomes 60. 60 divided by 11 is 55. Remember, when we add 0, we also put 0 point. 60 divided by 11 will not go, but 55 divided by 11 will be 5. 60 minus 55. 60 minus 55. 5. 50 divided by 11, which will not go, but 44. 44 divided by 11 will be 4, so we put 4. What is now remaining is 6. We add 0, it becomes 60. So you see, we are back to the 60. And that's 5. The next one 4. The next one 5. The next one 4. But we are asking, if we do this up to the 25th digit, what will be the answer? You see, 1, 2. If you say 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, you will notice that by the time we get to 24, it's going to fall under 2. And the next one will be 1. So it will going to fall under 25. That is, if you count these numbers, 1, 2, 1, 2, depending on how you like it. Or if you want to count it like this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4, this is 5, this is 6. But the way I wrote it before means that odd, even, odd, even, odd, even. You notice now that all the odds are under 5. Odd numbers, they are under 5. All the even so far. All the even so far. 2, 4, 6, they are under 2. So 25 will still be under 1. The answer is 1. The 25th digit. The 25 will be 1. That is odd. The under 1, which is 5, yes. If you count this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, remember that this 5, 4, 5, 4, 5, 4 will contribute to infinity. So it will be 5. 150 is what percent of 30? This is simply 150 over 30 times 100%. 150 divided by 30 is 5. 5 times 100, that's 500%. We still have plenty unsolved. Okay, so let's look at this question. Let me interpret it for you. Of the 50 researchers in a work group, 40% will be assigned to A. So first we have A, and to team A, and the remaining to team B. You will notice that 40%, 0.4 times 50 is 20. Another one is 0.6 times 50 is 30. That will give you back the 50. But in other scenario, it's going to A will now be, prefer A will now be 0.7 times 50, which is 35. And B will be 0.3 times 50, which is 15. Okay, so A, 35 people want to go there, but they can only 20 is assigned. The difference is the least possible value. So the least is 15. Why didn't they say the highest? The highest will surely be more than 15, because maybe some of the people that we are assigned to A didn't really want to work there. If n is a prime number greater than 3, what is the remainder when n squared is divided by 12? I want you to pay a little attention. Prime numbers start from 2, 3. These are numbers no other number can divide except 1 and themselves. Oh, this is a number. Okay, 1 and itself. Okay, 5. Which other number? no other number can divide.
7.
Next number. 11. So you are getting it. Out of all these numbers, which of them is greater than 3? Any of them that is greater than 3? 5. So the question is saying 5 squared divided by 12. What is the remainder? You know that 5 squared is 25. 25 divided by 12. 24 divided by 12 is 1. 2 remainder what? 1. That is it. 2 remainder 1. Lucy invested 10,000 in a new mutual fund account exactly 3 years ago. The value of the account increased by 10% during the first year, increased by 5% during the second year, and decreased by 10% during the third year. What is the value of the account today? Remember that question we solved first, that very first question. And I told you, because there is a 15% increase, that means times 1.15, right? You might not remember it totally, but you can remember small. If you increase the number by 15%, that number is now 115%. If you decrease the number by 15%, that number is now 85%. That means you are going to multiply by 0.85. Are you here?
No.
If you increase the number by 15%, you just multiply it by 15%. You can also try it manually. Remember I showed you, I tried increasing 20%, 200 by 20%, right, using the long route. Then I also did multiply by 1.2. Now, look at this question. If you say 10,000 times 1.1, 1.1 means 10% increase, times 1.05, which means 5% increase, this 5. Then times 0.9, because it's 10% decrease. Work it out with calculator. 10,000 times 1.1 times 1.05 times 0.9. Hello, ma. Okay. 10,395. Next question. If Joanne takes 11 seconds to run Y yards, how many seconds will it take him to run S yards at the same rate? Now, the proportion is back. You see why I solved that other question with proportion? We are going to write this as Joanne takes 11 seconds to run Y yards. That's one instant. The next instant will now be Z seconds to run S yards. Okay? What we are looking for is this Z. 11S cross multiply equals YZ. So that what we are looking for is, we are looking for Z, don't forget. So that is 11S over Y. 11S over Y, A. What is the lowest positive integer that is divisible by each of the following integer? 1 through 7 inclusive. Do you understand what they're asking? If you understand what the question is asking, you can simply solve it. They're saying all these numbers, you divide it by 1, by 2, by 3, by 4, by 5, by 6, by 7, each of this number. And each time, there's no remainder. He said, what is the lowest positive integer here that is divisible by each of the following integers, 1 through 7? That is, you are going to check all these options. What they are asking in essence, let's start from the lowest, 420. Is there any number from 1 to 7 that cannot divide 420? No, all of them can divide 420. Car S averages 25 miles per gallon of gasoline, and car Y averages 11.9 miles per gallon. If each car is driven 12 miles, approximately how many more gallons of gasoline will car Y use than car S? Remember that the distance is the same and we are looking for the one that is higher. The one that is higher, if you use like, okay, think about it. The one that is divided by the smaller value will be higher. Over 11.9 minus the same 12,000 over 25. Okay, if you are not using calculator, you can just approximate this to 12 so that this is approximated to 1,000. Remember that it's supposed to be less. Okay, do you want to work it out with calculator? 12,000 divided by 11.9? What I said was we can approximate this to a 12. So 12,000 divided by 12 is 1,000. Then we can also approximate this one to 24, so that 24,000 divided by 24 is approximately 500. But the value we will get is supposed to be higher, because 12,000 divided by 25 is supposed to be smaller. And if you subtract it from this one, right now this is approximately 500, but the value is supposed to be higher. So the nearest number here is 520. Do you remember this question? We solved it yesterday. Hello, ma. Do you remember this question? We solved it yesterday. So the answer was 15.95, the first one, plus 5 times 3.99, which gave us what? Which gave us 20 plus 15, which gave us 35.9. Is that? Are you here?
I'm here.
Okay, so this will give us 35.9, and the only option here that corresponds to this, to exactly 35.9, is the first one. Then finally, this question, we have 5 minutes to solve it. So let me attempt to solve it. If a certain toy store revenue in November was 2/5 of its revenue in December, what does it mean? It says November. No, it says December rather. If a certain toy store's revenue in November is November, so we are starting with November. So November equals 2/5 December written. And the next one is, and its revenue in January equals, and its revenue in January was 1/4 of its revenue in November. Then the store's revenue in December was how many times the average of its revenue in November and January? First, average of November and January is n plus j over 2. N plus j over 2. Alright, so we can write everything in terms of, remember that 1/4 is 0.25. Do you agree? Or do you want to confirm? Ma?
You can go on.
Okay. So n plus 0.25 n divided by 2, that is n bracket 1 plus 0.25 over 2. 1 plus 0.25 is 1.25. 1.25 divided by 2, can you use a calculator to check? 1.25 divided by 2, where's my own calculator? 0.625. So 0.625 n. 0.625 n is the average of n November and January. But the question is asking us for December divided by this average. That is December divided by maybe write it in a way that it will be clearer. December divided by n plus j over 2. Remember from n equals 2 over 5d. Okay, from n equals 2 over 5d, 5n equals 2d, or d equals 2.5n. So this will now be 2.5n divided by n plus j over 2. Oh, this is n here. 0.625n. n plus j over 2 is 0.625n. So this is going to be 2.5n divided by 0.625n, and we cancel n to start with. Can you check 2.5 divided by 0.625? We just have about 1 minute, so we can submit. Just fast. We have about 1 minute. Is what? 4. All right, so the answer here is 4. I don't know whether there is any answer we didn't select. We solved but did not select. I don't know. But if we submit this, we'll be able to check. Yeah, the time is counting down. At least I want to make sure that we have selected everything. Since there is no negative marking in your own exam, you can also, or not you can also, you should fill in all the answers. The ones you don't know, you guess them. Okay, like we did everything. Okay, submit. All right, so we are able to do this, and we got this 19 over 19. It's not only about solving it correctly. There's also a tendency that you solve it correctly. So there's also a tendency that you can solve it correctly, but still did not select the correct answer. Yes, that is also possible. Okay, now we have a lot. We still have time. We have time to take questions. One thing is that anytime you solve this, you will get the explanation. The explanations are here. The explanations are here. Okay.